What's happening, guys? So this video shouldn't be a long video. It's just a video talking about Bukayo Saka, and obviously he's training on grass. He's due to come back sometime soon, and there's this whole talk about should Arteta feature in the Champions League for us, right? So I'm making this video to talk about it, and maybe I might touch on a little bit of the toxic positive fans on what I know they will justify if certain scenarios play out next season. So let's talk about this. I'm sick of the sweatsuits and them corny hats. Let's talk about it. So we have Saka coming back from injury soon, and the hot topic is whether he should feature for Arsenal for the rest of the season, really. And you've got some fans divided. Some are saying that no, it's best to not play him, at least not in the Champions League, and definitely not for most of the games for the rest of the season. And some are saying, maybe if he comes on off the bench in the first leg and plays the second leg of the Champions League against Real Madrid. Right? Well, here's my take on it, yeah? For Saka's own benefit, it would suit us to not play him, maybe at a stretch, bring him off the bench in the last 2 games of the season or something like that. But what I do know is that that's not going to happen. Because we've got the track record of Super Mick when it comes to managing players that have come back from injury, yeah? And Arteta has a very robotic way of going about injuries when players have recovered from them. And his way of going about it is, if you can walk, at least. No, if you can jog and you're not feeling any discomfort, you can play. That's his philosophy on all this. So what I think is going to happen is Saka, we're playing Fulham next after the internationals. Bare minimum, he's playing against Everton at Goodison Park. He'll come off the bench. And then after that, he'll start. You start the rest of the games after Everton. Yeah, that's what he'll do. That's like I said, April is his favourite month. Yeah, and that's what he's going to do. Bye bye, Ethan. It's been nice seeing you do bits for us when you could, but we know what Super Mick's going to do now. Crying to me, and I'm not having it. So man like Big E is going to be warming that bench again. So he can put Saka back in and keep him there because he's not a good manager. Yeah? He ain't a good manager. I remember in 2011, before the League Cup final, when we lost to Birmingham.
Hey, you ain't going too goddamn far now.
And Fabregas was injured. He didn't play that final. But there was talks of, there's a chance Fabregas could play. We could risk playing him, but his injury could be worse. I can't remember what injury he had. I don't know if it might have been a hamstring. But we didn't risk it. You know what I mean? We didn't risk playing Fabregas in that final. Yeah? And it was for the best for him. Because you don't want a player, we don't even know if Saka's going to be the same player anymore. Thanks to Arteta, right? We've seen, your Michael Owens and them. You know what I mean? We've seen these type of injuries ruin them. And they weren't the same player anymore. They might give you a two bit of glimpse here and there, but they can't sustain it. And what this manager is going to do, right, is he's going to rush Saka back because he's not, just like he rushed Jesus back. Remember, April 2023? You know what I mean? Bench Trossard throughout April, after April Fool's Day, so he could put Jesus in. So he could throw him back in. Even though Trossard was doing bits in that role in the meantime. We were unbeaten when Trossard started. And Arteta fucked that up. I didn't even want to swear. But it angers me every time I talk about it. Because you just think to yourself, you were 8 points clear. Top of the league. Why are you changing shit that doesn't need to be changed? But I know why, because you're not a good manager. And then last April, He rushed Jesus. He threw Jesus back in again, and that meant that Kai Havertz had to go back in midfield for the game against Aston Villa, the only game we lost in 2024 in the league. Oh, until this season. But for the rest of that season, we went unbeaten, apart from that Villa game. So we know the pattern of Arteta, Super Mick and his April patterns. We know that now, don't we? So we know he's going to rush Saka back. And I just hope that Saka doesn't aggravate anything further. I hope he doesn't, but Super Mick, there's no way Jose Enrique is Saka not playing in the Champions League for us against Real Madrid.
Nope.
And not playing Premier League games after Everton at least. No way, Jose Enrique. He's going to want Saka straight back in so we can try and win the Champions League and the Premier League. The world told this guy, look, Saka needs cover. You all heard me in the summer.
I've seen him do it.
Turn around and say, I want a striker and I want a right winger that can take the load off Saka. I want both, but I know we're not getting both. But if I had to pick one, I would take the right winger who can play as a striker that can at least take the load off Saka.
I've seen him do it.
We've been crying for cover for Saka since 2023 season when we nearly won the league. This guy got rid of Salt and Pepe, yeah? And look how that worked out. We had Saka doing a two-man job. Yeah? He'll play 90 minutes that he doesn't need to play. Comes off the bench against Preston that we're winning 3-0 of. Why? Like, we all knew this, but he didn't. What? Are we going to say the Kroenke said to him, oh, you have to keep Saka on pitch for 90 minutes, mate? Is that what we're doing now? And you get these super Mick cocksuckers, right, outside Emirates and everything and online, justifying keeping this manager. Y'all are something else. Y'all are something else. The way you man can just justify keeping this manager and you will bypass all that because, we put the pressure on Pep. And the thing about this title race, yeah, because we're about to see Slot win the league. I think 4 more wins or something like that might do it for him or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but the 12 clear. Yeah? 9 games left. So, I think it's about 4 more games. These men are already cooked up excuses for why Slot is about to win the league title. Because we had injuries. That's the excuse. So next season, so let's say we sign a forward of some kind. And next season, everybody stays fit. Saka stays fit. Havertz comes back and is half the player Haaland is, bare minimum. And, Tomiyasu's defending world-class form after injury. Everything like Ben White stays fit. All that stuff. We sign another keeper to play in the cup games. Yeah? And if we have that season and finish second, these cocksuckers will still justify why Arteta should stay. It's never ending with these man. The only way for these man is we don't get top 4. That's the only way these man will think about turning on Arteta. Thinking to themselves, you know what, maybe it's best for the club that we move on. You know what I mean? But top 4 is keeping this guy in this job. And they'll keep justifying. You man better pray Spurs don't win the Europa League. I'm telling you right now. You man better pray. Because if Spurs win the Europa League, all yous that justify keeping Arteta, you lot deserve to see it. You lot deserve to see it. You lot deserve to be tied to a chair and made to watch that happen if it does. And every time you blink, yeah, or every time you look away from the screen, you get lashes or some shit like that. You man would deserve that. You man would deserve that. But I said before, the complacency of this fan base. is off the fact that Spurs are shit. You know what I mean? We saw Spurs lose EFL Cup final in 2015. Yeah, we were already FA Cup champions and we were about to retain the FA Cup that season. Yeah? Spurs then got to a Champions League final in 2019. And we got to Europa League final at the same time. But Baku happened, didn't it? You know, all the way out in Emmanuel, Azerbaijan. Yeah? And then Spurs had a Champions League final coming up because the Champions League final is the last one to be played. How thankful are we that Spurs didn't win that? Off the back of us getting slaughtered by Chelsea. With a chance of Spurs playing Chelsea in the Super Cup. Which would have been another shot at another European trophy. How thankful are we that didn't happen? No, still didn't learn. You lot still didn't learn. Because then Arteta came in, he won the FA Cup, and then now 5 years on, you man are still justifying keeping this guy after all what I've explained prior. After all what I've explained about Arteta and his patterns and everything like that, you man still find a way to justify it. You know what I mean? Could have been Spurs in that EFL Cup final last week. Could have been Spurs there. We got pumped by Newcastle 4-0 on aggregate, right?
Yo, killing me with this.
Supposing Spurs kept their lead that they had on Liverpool. Could have been them in the final. Who knows? They could have won it, maybe. But they would have had a shot, wouldn't they? Again, we went out and then Spurs followed suit. You man are lucky Spurs are shit. But it's not, this won't last forever. Yeah? Because it will come to a point where Spurs will get over the line. Whether it's the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League, maybe even the Champions League. Because they've been to a final more recently than us, haven't they? Maybe even the Premier League. You man, just be thankful. Be thankful that Spurs are just shit. That every time we're shit, they'll do one better. Just be thankful that happens. Because because if they were to win something and we don't, even I'd look at that and say maybe that'll be the point of where you can't justify Arteta. Because what can you say? If Spurs win Europa League, what can you not say? They had a shitload of injuries this season. So what can you man say about that?
Gotcha, bitch.
You can't hide. Anyways, I'm done ranting anyway. As I said, me personally, I don't want Saka playing. I just don't.
Nope.
I mean, I personally don't want Saka playing. You know, it's Arteta's business. Everybody knew what we needed, and you didn't want to do it. And now you're going to take it out on Saka. That's what he's going to do. You know what I mean? Now, if I was the Kroenkes, I would tell him, no, you're not. Saka's not playing the rest of the season. Bare minimum, he comes off the bench last 2 games of the season. You fix this, Arteta. Because I gave you money, and you decided you didn't want to get cover in elsewhere. I gave you the money, and you pissed it away on what you didn't need. And what everybody told you needed, you decided against it. And I let that run. So, if I had the control, I'm stopping Arteta from doing that. You know what I mean? You find your way. You find the way to get through this. You know what I mean? Because this is on you. You know what I mean? Saka shouldn't have to pay the price for your fuckery. But watch Arteta ruin this guy. You know, just watch. He'll do it. April is the month. Real Madrid, April 8th and 16th. You know what I mean? He'll disrupt this team. That's what he'll do. He already disrupted it against Chelsea. You know what I mean? Martinelli straight back in the team. See, at least under Wenger, when a player came back from injury, he didn't rush him in like that. he'd have him on the bench for a few games. To the point where we were complaining, if the players fit enough to be on the bench, if the best players are fit enough to be on the bench now, they're fit enough to start. That was our complaints. But when you look back, you think to yourself, well, it's actually more sensible doing it that way. You know what I mean? But as I said, Arteta, you'll find a way, and he always finds a way to fuck it up. So that's what he'll do this next month. And yeah. But yeah, anyways, like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, follow all the socials, the link is in the description below, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.
And if anyone wants to have a come at me,
come and find me. I'm in the car park now.
Because I'm a black belt in karate.
Stop the cap.
Come and have a pop.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.